Okay, there's my 68 Fender Deluxe reissue. And I want to talk a little bit about that. That amplifier is about probably 5 or 6 years old. And it's always been a little bit noisy. And I play it all the time. I play it a lot. Several hours a week. And when I first got it, I put all NOS tubes in it, the good ones from the United States years ago. And I really do like the sound I get out of it. It is a nice amplifier, but it's a couple problems. One was the pilot light, which is another video that I have. And then the other problem I started having with it was really making a lot of noise. It was popping and crackling a lot when I powered it off, especially very noticeable. And then sometimes if I was playing really low volumes, if I turned up the guitar, the speaker would pop. And some other issues like that, and all kind of symptomatic of filter caps. So I took it down and took it apart. I took the chassis out and I fixed the pilot light, and then I pulled the cover off the filter caps, and I looked. They were Illinois capacitors in there, and so I took those out and I put in F&T capacitors. The other thing was I always had a problem with some microphonics on the V1. And I had changed out tubes a couple times, and it wasn't the tubes. I moved tubes around and stuff. So it wasn't the tubes. So I got looking in there, and a couple problems. I found out that the screws that mount the tube socket were loose. And so I tightened those screws, and then I found all the screws and everything that was mounted in there was loose. So I retightened all the screws for the transformers, for the tube sockets. I don't know if it was built like that or whether they've just come loose over time, but anyway, I tightened them all down really well. And then there was a couple of solder joints I touched up a little bit too. It didn't look really good. That was all I did. And I got it all back together. And the popping and crackling and all the noise with it is now gone. So I think those electrolytic capacitors really, that change was a huge improvement. And then the other thing was I noticed that all of a sudden I didn't have the microphonic problem with V1. So I think I attribute that to just loose tube sockets and again touching up some solder joints. So if you've got one of these animals, you might want to do the same thing. It's not a problem. It took me about an hour. If you don't know what you're doing, you really shouldn't be in there because there's high voltages and stuff like that. But it took me about an hour to do all that. And it was well worth it. The thing sounds great now, and I don't have any of these little problems. So I hope that's helpful to somebody that may be experiencing similar problems with it. They're not built like the vintage amps. You know, when you get inside them, it's all different. But it's a good amplifier, and it does sound good. And it's a lot less expensive than a vintage amp. So anyway, I hope that's helpful, and thanks for watching.